Today what we are going to discuss is, our session is a BW4 HANA, training, but at the same, when we learning BW4 HANA, we must know, our old providers also. Okay. So coming back to the topic here, today we are going to discuss about a DSO, standard DSO cube, if possible, cube concept also we will cover today. But you see, in BW4 HANA system, there is no standard DSO concept at all. Okay, it means DSO concept is not there in BW4 HANA, but in BW on HANA system, BW on HANA and BW old systems, we still have DSO concept. In BW4 HANA, we always create ADSOs. Okay, BW4 HANA, we always create ADSOs only. You don't have any option to create a DSO in BW4 HANA, but in this particular training, I am going to teach about DSO also. Why? Because to make it complete. Okay, it means if we know DSO, cube concept, multi-provider, it will be helpful to work in other environments also without any problem. Okay, I will try to teach all these 4 concepts, okay, in coming time. So DSO, cube, multi-provider, InfoSet. So in BW4 HANA training, in the past, in the past sessions, we already covered ADSO concept, where a ADSO can be act as a standard ADSO can be created. An ADSO can be created as a standard ADSO, right optimized ADSO, and then cube type ADSO. Okay, so an ADSO can be created and a few more other things are there, but these 3 are important. Okay, we can create an ADSO with these 3 functionalities, but in our old systems like BW on HANA with 7.5 or BW 7.4 versions and all, we don't have this ADSO concept where we create normal DSO, cube, multi-provider, InfoSet. Okay, so now today in our session we are going to cover DSO and its type. Okay, so I will go through these concepts quickly, just not to cover too much time. I will show you how to create these technically and where we can create it and what are the few of the important points while creating it. Okay, so which helps you in your projects, real-time projects. So to create any advanced objects, we need HANA Studio, but to create our old objects, which is DSO, cube, multi-provider, InfoSet, we don't need HANA Studio. We always create these from our SAP GUI screen. So now currently I logged into my BW HANA system and I am going to RS7 transaction code. Okay, in my RS7 transaction code, we know all these are info areas. So where we create our DSO, DSO means for data store object. Okay, so where we can create DSO, we will create DSO under our where it is info areas. So which info area currently we are using to create all our objects is this one. As of now, we are always using this info area to create our objects. Now in this particular info area, I am going to create now DSO. When I right click on this area, info area, if I go here, you see there is an option to create data store object, create InfoCube. Okay, multi-provider and InfoSet. These options I am getting here. But when I go to my HANA Studio, and if I go to any info area and right click here, can we see if I go to any info area, right click here, go to new. Here you see I have only data store advanced option. I cannot create a normal data store object from HANA Studio. Here I cannot create any InfoCube also directly. To create these non-HANA components, we always must go to the standard SAP GUI and RS7 screen. So how can I distinguish between an advanced DSO and a standard DSO? Okay, if you see the advanced DSO, the icon looks in this way. And if you want to identify a normal DSO, which is a non-HANA DSO, non-HANA based object, you see after the DSO icon there will be one dot. If there is some dot in this way, then it means nothing but it means it is a non-HANA based object. Okay, now I am going to create one DSO. Right click here, create data store object. So when you are creating data store object, it will ask for the technical name and the description. So I need to provide my technical name here. Yeah, so we not yet completed this part. So we know, right, before creating anything, we always, choose our technical name first and description. Then after fixing these information, we go for the creation. So what is my technical name here? I will give SR underscore, D SL, D sales. Okay, standard, right? So let's take it as S sales. So this DSO I'm going to create now, nothing but standard DSO, and description, standard DSO sales. So this is the description what I am going to give. So when I creating a DSO, right, if it is a DSO you are going to create, what you will do generally, you always identify your info objects first. So which file you are going to load, or which source from which source you are going to load your data. According to the data source structure, you need to define your DSO structure also. So now in our current example, I am going to load data from a data source. Let me take any sales data source here. Yeah, let's take this as a data source. ZSR, D. Here I have fields like this. Okay, sales order number, item created on like this. So let's take these info objects here. Okay, very good. Yeah. Copy. So these are the info object names. So I am going to use the same info object names here also while creating my DSO. And in these info objects, I will keep these two as key of my DSO. Okay. So I defined my technical name, I defined my description, and I know which info objects I am going to use while creating this DSO, and I know the key part of my DSO also. Okay. So now next, I will go to my SAP GUI. I will right click on my info area. I will click on create data store object, and then I will provide my technical name, which I already decided here. Copy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then description also I will copy from here to there, and then click on create button. This is the create button. Object name must be 3 to 8 characters. Yeah, it is more than 8 characters, so we must delete one character. So I am deleting the last S, and click on create button. So when you create, click on create button, this kind of screen will be created. Okay, it will come like this. So now here, what are the important points to check? Here, when it is creating this, we have a settings tab, we have a key fields, one thing, and then data fields. These three are important. We have settings, key fields, and the data field section. So what is this settings? So these settings under this type of data store, here it is mentioned as standard, because a DSO acts as a 3 different kinds. A data store object can be created in 3 different types. What is it? Standard DSO, write optimized DSO, and then direct update DSO. So a DSO can act as three types. So any of these, if you have a requirement to create, you create a DSO only, and then you go to this type of data store object settings, click on this edit symbol, pencil symbol. Here you will decide what type of DSO you are going to create, either it is standard, direct update, or write optimized. So currently our requirement is to create a standard. So I am clicking on standard, but by default it is standard when you create a DSO. If you want to change it to write optimized, you can do it. So what is the difference between write optimized to standard? We will see in coming time. So I am clicking on OK to make it standard. So when I make it standard, what happened? For a standard DSO, there are 2 sections. Key field section, data field section. On the key field section, I will provide the key fields of my data, and the data fields, all the fields, characteristic fields, key figures, and everything I will provide on the data fields. Example, if I take this particular data set, in this particular info objects, the first 2 columns define the key of my each record. That's why I am going to keep these 2 info objects in the key section. Okay, go to info here, right click on the key fields, info object direct input, provide your 2 info object names. After providing it, don't click on OK button. Okay, first after providing these 2, click on the refresh button. When you click on the refresh button, that descriptions will be filled. If the description is not filling, what it means, for example, I am removing this M and I am clicking on refresh button. You see, if the description is not filling, then you given something wrong here. System not able to identify your info object. So to get to know this information, first you need to click on refresh button. Make sure all the descriptions are populated properly. If not, check that info object name one more time, correct it. Once everything is fine, then click on OK button. So then automatically these two fields will be added to your key field section. Now in the similarly, go to data field section, info object direct input, and take all the other fields which are non-key fields. Take it, go to your paste it here. Click on refresh button. You see everything was populated here. Now click on OK button. Now all these fields will be added here. Then that's it. Here navigational attributes, indexes, we don't use it. Okay, only these two sections we will fill. And now click on activate button. So then transformation, transformation DTPs, everything is same. So that concept I am not going to cover in today's session. So this session is mainly to show you technically how to create a DSO, how to create, right optimized direct update DSOs, and concept of cube. Because transformation DTP concept is same just like ADSO. So there is nothing difference here. But quickly, just to make it, complete, what I can do, yeah. Even though I said no, but I'm not satisfied. So let me go here. Slash n, since it is activated successfully, I am going to slash n RS7. I am searching my, you see though, since it is a standard, standard DSO, I can see the symbol here. For ADSOs, I cannot see. And if you want further difference, if you double click on the standard DSO, you get this kind of screen. If you click on the right, ADSO, it won't open that ADSO structure. You cannot see it from the SAP GUI. To see this, structure and everything, you must go to your, HANA Studio only. So now standard DSO is completed, and then to quickly have one transformation. Let me try to create transformation quickly here. I'm copying my data source name. Right click on the DSO, create transformation, provide your object type as data source, search for your data source, select it. Automatically source system will be updated here, and click on OK button. You see the transformation is as it is. So there is no much difference here. Okay, at the transformation level. But if you go to BW4 HANA, yeah, the screen will be different. But in BW4 HANA, anyway, we don't create a transformation for DSO. It is always ADSO. Okay, so now this is transformation created. DTP and all same concept. So I am not going to that one. Now how to create a right optimized DSO. Okay, now I shown you how to create standard DSO, and now let's see how to create a right optimized DSO. Now what I am going to do, I am going to create one more object here. Right click here, create data store object. Now provide the technical name. Instead of S cell, now I am going to give W cell. W stands for here right optimized. And in the description also, instead of standard DSO cells, now I am going to give right optimized DSO cells. Right optimized. Okay. And then click on create button. So when you create a DSO, by default system always creates standard. In order to make it right optimized, you need to go to this pencil symbol and change this radar button to right optimized and click on OK. Now we need to understand few more things here. What is that? Now earlier when we creating a standard DSO, here below to the settings, we seen two tabs. One is key fields, another one is data fields. But for right optimized, you have three sections. One is technical key, another one is semantic key, another one is data fields. Okay, so a right optimized DSO and standard DSO contains different structures. Okay, the two sections like this technical key is completely unique for the right optimized, and semantic key is not mandatory. Generally in standard ADSO, it is mandatory to provide the key fields. So to in order to say manually, I can show it here. So instead of seeing it, where is it? Yeah, here. If I go here, if I go to standard DSO, in the standard DSO, the key fields, you need to mention definitely at least one key field here in your DSO. But in your write optimized DSO, it is not mandatory to define semantic key. Okay, so you can ignore this section also. Generally, when we create write optimized, we don't provide anything under semantic key until unless there is some requirement. Okay, we generally keep all the fields under the data fields only. That is how we are going to create a write optimized DSO in general. Okay, I'm going to my Excel sheet, selecting all my info object names, going to my write optimized screen, providing all here, and then refresh. All good. Click on OK. In write optimized DSO, the technical key fields which are request ID, data packet ID, record, these three acts as the key. By default, these three are the key fields in the write optimized DSO. Apart from these three, if you want to add anything extra, then you go for semantic key. If not, say add everything in the data field section and then click on activate. So there is no difference in the symbol point of view. All the standard DSO or it is a write optimized DSO, the DSO symbol doesn't vary. It is like this only. Okay. Now if I expand my info area, here I can see now two. One is standard DSO and write optimized. Okay. So now let me create one transformation for my write optimized DSO. If I open the transformation of a standard DSO for the key fields, you see there is a key symbol showing in this way. Now similarly, now I am going to create a transformation for my write optimized DSO also. Let's see which comes under key section. Create transformation, select a source as data source, and then go to select your data source, search for it. Then automatically if source system comes here, click on OK button. Now see in the write optimized DSO, nothing was showing under key section. At the same time, the technical key part, whichever we seen while creating the write optimized DSO, those fields are not appearing here. Why not appearing? Because those are technical keys generated by system. You don't load them from any source system. Okay, source provider. That's why those three won't show here. But when you go to, and now let me activate this write optimized DSO. Now if I go to manage of my write optimized DSO, in the manage, in the content tab, there is called active table. Okay, in the active table, I can see, you see, request data packet part number. These three are the technical key fields, technical keys which are by default. Okay, so now we seen how to create a standard DSO and a write optimized DSO. So what next is, so let's go in depth of a little bit understanding of what is standard DSO means. So we know we already learned standard advanced DSO of type standard, correct? So in our previous sessions, we already learned about ADSO of type standard. So what is ADSO of type standard? Which contains three tables. One is new table, active table, and changelog table. So in the same way, our DSO contains same, because concept is everything same. In BW4 HANA or BW on HANA, SAP designed an advanced provider which is a combination of DSO and Cube. Nothing but it is a combination of standard write optimized Cube type ADSO, Cube type providers. Okay, direct update everything. Okay, all this combined and they are replaced with one provider called ADSO. So when you create a DSO of type standard, this also contains three tables. Okay, standard DSO contains three tables. Those three tables. So three tables are new table, active table, changelog table. Same concept, no difference. Okay, how can I see these three tables? Just go to your DSO, go to manage here. On the content tab, you see all the three tables. New table. For an ADSO, if you want to see these things, you need to go to environmental tab to open to open these tables. Okay. So in the content tab, we have new data, active data, change log. The concept of new data, active data, change log is just like, like an ADSO. There is no difference here. Okay. So that's why I'm not going to tell anything. Generally, just to make it simple, when we load data into a standard DSO, it comes initially into new table, and then by activating the request, it goes to active data, and any changes will be captured under change log table. Okay, that is all about DSO. And one of the important point here is how to change the description of a DSO. Sometimes we may get a requirement to change the description of this DSO. Okay, how to change it? Right click here. Do we have rename here? You see there is no rename option here. Okay, so DSO name can be changed from here. Right click here. Sorry, go to edit mode of this DSO. Now right click, change description. From here you can change the DSO description. Okay, and one more important point is, if you want to change any DSO from write optimizer to change log, write optimizer to standard or standard to write optimizer, you can only change if the DSO doesn't contain any data. Okay, once after creating and loading data, if you want to come here and try to change the data store DSO type, it is not possible. Okay, and some SID generation concept is there. This is completely different concept. We cover later point. Okay, next. So we know what is DSO. In the DSO, we see that these are the key fields, data fields. Whereas in the write optimizer DSO, we don't have that section. We have a technical key. Here we have technical key and semantic key and data fields. Technical key fields are acts as the key section for the write optimizer DSO. Okay. Now let me show you direct update DSO also same kind, simply changing the radio button to direct update. Okay. So nothing difference here. So I'm not showing direct update DSO creation. So I will try to jump into cube creation now. Before going into cube creation, there must be some background theory you need to know. Okay, so because in generally in interviews, this is one of the question which comes up. Okay, so what is a cube? What is a DSO? If we have DSO, then why we have a cube concept in BW? Okay, this is the one of the question which may come into which may come. That's it. So DSO is a two-dimensional table. I told you earlier, this is a two-dimensional table with rows and columns. But cube is a multi-dimensional object. Multi-dimensional object. So cube follows star schema. Earlier they called star schema, and later part they changed it to extended star schema. Okay, star schema. Yeah, so we must know something about what is a star schema, extended star schema. When we talking about this cube, because when we have DSO, why we come, cube come into existence? Why? Because reporting on DSO will take more time when compared to cube. Cube provides faster, performance, data reporting performance. Cube provides faster reporting performance, whereas DSO comparative to cube, it is less. Okay, why cube provides faster reporting performance? Because in cube every field is a key. In standard ADSO also, if you define it as a cube type, each and every characteristic is a key figure, is a key field. Okay, apart from key figures, remaining all we can consider as a key figures only, key fields only. Whereas in DSO, we will tell which are key fields, which are data fields. Okay, so one important point for the faster performance of cube is each field is a key field. Okay, and next is it follows a star schema mechanism and extended star schema mechanism in latest versions. So what is star schema and extended star schema? So star schema is nothing but fact table surrounded by dimension tables. Okay, so this this is nothing but this is called as a star schema, because when fact table was surrounded with this thing, then it looks like a little bit star shape. That's why they call it as a star schema. And later they call it as extended star schema. It means now this star schema was a little bit extended. What is extension means? Now each dimension was surrounded by the master data tables. Okay, so because this is now star schema little bit extended to little bit outside, now they call it as an extended star schema. Okay, now let's try to understand what is fact table, what is dimension table, and what is master data table concept. Okay, so what is fact table? If I consider my this is my cube structure, let's consider this is my cube structure. In this cube structure, everything is a key, so I'm removing this coloring format completely. Okay, out of this all key figure, I need to differentiate key figures now. So what I will do, 1 minute, I will copy my quantity to the end, amounts also to the end. So let me keep all characteristics and unit fields here and key figures at the end. So fact table is nothing but all the key figures act as a fact table. Okay, means how to say this one? Fact table means here there will be one key followed by your key figures. How many key figures are there? Quantity, amount, and are 2 key figures. So now these three acts as one table. Okay, so this is nothing but pure fact table. In the fact table, all the columns, most of the except the key field, remaining all the columns are only the key figures, no characteristics at all. So now what is this key? This key is nothing but the combination of your dimensions. Okay, for example, this is dimension 1, this is dimension 2, this is dimension 3, this is dimension 4. Okay, so now combination of all the dimensions acts as a key, means a dim 1, dim 2, dim 3, dim 4. Okay, so it means when we talk about dimension 1, you know, right, how to create a cube. First we need to learn. Now so far you understand till this point, I hope. So let me now try to create a cube, then I will come to this what is dimension and what is master touch. Okay, now I am going to my SAP GUI. I am going to create a cube now. Right click, create InfoCube. So when creating InfoCube, I need to give the name. So SR_C cell. Just I am replacing this W with C, which is nothing but cube type. Now here cube, sales cube I'm giving here. So I'm not giving anything here. Just click on create button. Now when you creating a cube, you see there are dimensions. There are no key field section, no data field section. Only you are getting 2 folders. One is dimensions, another one is navigational, and other one is key figures. Okay, so in the dimensions also there are 3 dimensions by default: data package, time, unit. These 3 are standard dimensions which you cannot delete it. You use it or not at later point, but these 3 are standard. Now one more dimension called dimension 1. So now what I'm going to do, now I need to go to my info objects. Now check out of it, anything comes under time dimension. Yes, this comes under time dimension. Now copy it and then add it under time dimension. Okay, yeah, it is not possible. Why? Because in order to add any info object into time dimension, I think those must be reference to 0 cal date, 0 date and all. Okay, so it is not possible to add it here. So sorry, I think I need to add them only under copy. Let me add under dimension 1 only. That's it. Okay, so I added all my characteristics under dimension 1, and I need to add my key figures under key figure section. Okay, right click, info object direct input, go here, refresh, click on OK. So when you add key figures, the corresponding units which are binded with your info object automatically comes into your unit dimension. You no need to add anything specifically. So now under dimension 1, I have my these info objects. Under key figures, I have these two. So under each dimension, we need to add like this. Now I have 4 info objects in my dimension, right? I can add further dimensions here. Create new dimension. For example, add material, and then click on OK. And then add your material to material dimension. So what is this dimension? What exactly, it plays the role. Dimension is nothing but like grouping. Okay, you can group your info objects into one group of type, similar type. All your document related objects can be grouped under one dimension. All your material related fields comes under material dimension. Other any date fields, you can create one other dimension. Like that, you can create multiple dimensions and keep it. But there is a fixed number of dimensions you can create, not more than that. I forgot that number. Later we can discuss that. So key figures like this. Okay, na? So when I'm explaining the star schema, I'm telling about dimension, right? Nothing but these are the dimensions. Data package dimension, time dimension, unit dimension, dimension 1. If you want, you can rename this dimension. Go to properties. Change it to document specific, right? Document specific info objects, like you can change the dimension name and then like this. So a fact table surrounded by dimension means fact table is nothing but all the info objects added under key figure section, and dimension means nothing but the top dimensions. So a dimension means here, dimension means along with info objects. How many info objects are there? All these will be grouped and forming one dimension. Okay, it means, for example, in a dimension, if I have 3 info objects, the data in these 3 columns combinedly create one dimension value here. Okay, so like this. It's difficult at the initial time. It is very difficult to understand, but the dimension concept and star schema concept follows in the same way. Okay, so dimension fact table surrounded by dimensions called as star schema, and dimensions surrounded by master data tables called as extended star schema. So what is master data surrounded by dimensions? So in your material dimension, you have an info object called material, right? So this is the material is a dimension. In that you have a material info object. If you go to navigation attributes section, you see you have an option to enable navigation attributes at cube level. Whereas in your ADSO concept, it is not possible to enable navigation attributes, even though it is a ADSO of type cube. In advanced, our advanced data providers, HANA providers, only at composite provider level you can enable, navigation attributes. But in normal non-HANA objects at cube level also you can able to enable navigation attributes like this. Okay, so this is called, now this dimension material is surrounded by this material master data information called as dimension surrounded by master data. Okay, now click on activate. So this is how you create a cube. So a cube is a combination of dimensions plus key figures plus navigation attributes. Okay, so under the cube symbol also, how it looks like. So this is the cube symbol, where it is, this is the cube symbol. Okay, and how to create a transformation to cube. So let's try to create a transformation. Right click on your cube, create transformation, select your data source, provide your go to search option, select your data source, search it, select it, click on OK button. You see now in this transformation, apart from key figures, remaining all fields act as a key figures. Apart from key figures, all other fields characteristics acts as the key fields. Okay, na? So that's it. Activate. Now in tomorrow's session, so I will conclude this session by today. In tomorrow's session, what we are going to learn is what are the major tables. Okay, in ADS4, how many tables will be created, and how it will be useful, and in normal DSO how tables will be, in Cube how tables will be. Those topics we will discuss in tomorrow's session. Okay, so this is how to create a cube and how to create transformation for a cube. Okay, so now I will conclude. So finally, I hope you understand this fact table concept, dimension table, master data table. Okay, and there is so much to explain about this extended star schema, but at this point of time, it is not too important. Okay, we can create another separate session to explain about how exactly this cube dimension tables and all. But when coming to our latest versions of HANA based objects, this Star-Schema here doesn't create any much useful learning it when you are working with ADSOs. So that's why I'm not going in depth of this one, or else I may explain it in more detail. Okay, so that's all. There is no assignment. You try to create whatever you created in ADSO session. Try to create those ADSOs in the normal DSO format and cube format. That will be your assignment. Okay, I am stopping recording.